everyone. This is Joel Pate. Thank you for joining our webinar on Thursday. Every Thursday we have our Jumpstart webinar, and our intent and our goal of this webinar is to help you build your business. It's really that simple. There's nothing else to it. We want to help you grow, not only in your own business, but in your personal life as well. One of the statements that I've got a book actually by Jay Abraham, and I've met with him, and he's counseled me before, and he's a pretty good guy. Obviously, if you don't know Jay, you could Google Jay and find thousands, if not millions, of hits about Jay Abraham. Great teacher. He says, all you have is all you have, and all you have is enough. And you know, if you really begin to think about that, it really sinks in, and you can draw strength from this very fact. And the fact is that what you need to grow your business, you've got. And if you don't have everything you need to grow your business, which I understand that, you've got the ability to go out here and get the resources that you need to do whatever it is you need to do. So everything you need, everything that you need in order to grow your business or do anything in your life is at your disposal. It's just a lack of resource that causes you not to be able to do it. So I want you to use today's our webinar as a resource to help you grow your business. Think about things, take notes, and then act on them. And if you're like me, you've got a to-do list that gets longer every day, okay? And I understand that, but why is that happening? Well, probably because you're putting too many things on the to-do list and not getting enough things done, number one, right? But really the key there is that you don't have enough resources to bring in other people to do the things that you're not getting to and that you'd be better suited if someone else was doing. And so it really becomes a resource issue and a delegation issue. I see so many people try to do too many things. You know, they're building their own website, they're creating their own content, and what happens is they never get done with anything. Okay, and the reason you don't get done is one of the reasons is that you don't spend a quantum amount of time doing it. So look up that word quantum in my dictionary, okay, Joel's dictionary, forget Webster for a second, but my dictionary is more than sufficient, okay? One of the things that Robert Kiyosaki talks about is the quantum amount of time that you spend learning the business that you're in and how valuable that really is, and that it takes a quantum amount of time. And I've really had a personal experience with that this week. Anybody been trying to reach me this week, you'll know that I've been pretty unavailable. And the reason is because I've had someone in from out of town, actually out of the country in the Philippines, that we're doing a new deal with Hutton Chase, one of my credit offers. And we've been working on a script since Monday, okay? We began to work on the script on Monday after it probably been worked on for about 20 hours before. And yesterday we got through with it, and I want you to know we spent 5 hours on 4 paragraphs. We wrote them, rewrote them, spoke them, had someone speak them to us, edited, literally an hour a paragraph for over 5 hours. And that's what an example of a quantum amount of time is. And what happens is that we just don't spend enough time doing what needs to be done in order to trigger it so it really works for us, okay? So, you know, one of the things we're going to talk about in just a few minutes is business development. And I keep going back over this and over this and over this is because, again, hearing from our customers, it's the number one issue. The number one issue is I need more business, okay? Well, we're going to talk about how to get more business, but I wanted to start with this phrase, all you have is all you have, and all you have is enough. And you have the inner strength. And I have to tell you, last week, I was traveling last week and just, you know, traveling wear you out. So, you know, I had to kind of rebuild my own energy level. So I pulled out my book I usually carry with me, Think and Grow Rich. And you know, and by the time I got back to Mobile on the flight from Dallas, I was feeling better. So if for any reason whatsoever, you know, you need to overcome some things, you need to have a resource to help you do that. And again, all you have is all you have, but all you have is enough if you use the tools that you've got, which may be a book on your shelf or a book you could go buy, a book you could download, okay? So really begin to look and use the resources out there that are available to you, these webinars, other webinars, the training that we offer at Score, as well as books, of course, like the book Think and Grow Rich, Jay Abraham's books as well. Let me try to move my slide forward. Joshua I think Joshua just joining us. I think he's trying to get on now. But I wanted to show everybody a new picture of me. I'm going to be putting this on the slide on the webinars from now on, I believe. And it's after 3 years of working out, I've lost almost 40 pounds. I've actually lost 41 now. I'm at 38, 36, according to what day it is, I guess. And I've gone from those are like 44 pants down to like 36 pants. So anyway, I want to share that with you. I was giving away a bunch of things after the first of the year. We always try to clean out our closet. And so like these were my favorite pants. And anyway, they don't fit anymore. So anybody want to send me a congratulation email, that'd be fine. I'll take it. Well, one of the things we want to talk about today in today's webinar is business development. Okay, as I said earlier, business development is what everybody needs. Okay, and we keep going back over this because it's the key, guys. Business development and sales. Of course, you've got to have customer service. Of course, you've got to collect your money. Of course, you've got to have a good contract. Of course, you've got to get paid. Of course, you've got to do great disputes and get results. Of course, you've got to correspond effectively with your consumer. You've got to correspond effectively with your affiliate source. But this is the key to grow your business, but that doesn't mean the other things aren't important. Joshua, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Well, good afternoon. You've had a busy day.
Yes, I have.
Well, the key here, Joshua, is learning how to, and let's just break this down. So often, we have a tendency, I do at least, because, Joshua tells me this all the time, so does my wife, look, you're at 10,000 feet, you're at 80,000 feet on that, break this down, tell me, let's get down to the details. Often, we're building a new software program that I say we're building it, we're using it, it's working, we've signed up customers using it, we're going to begin to promote that in a couple of weeks. But, we have these meetings with the software developer, and Joshua runs that initiative. But, and I'll ask Joshua a question, and I feel like and the programmers, I say, like I'm asking you what time it is, and they tell me how to they built the clock. And so, so somewhere between that level of detail, Joshua, and too high of a, too esoteric here, we need to get everybody some information today that will really help them to go out and build their business. So, Joshua, we talk to customers all the time, all day long. This is the number one thing that's facing them is, how do I grow my business? I'm not doing enough business.
There's a lot of things that we can do. But I've got to tell you, I'm speaking to customers every day. We offer weekly sessions if needed, and we set up 3-4 sessions sometimes because our focus is primarily to help our CROs grow their businesses. We offer a solution, as you know, Joe, and everyone out there who is a Score customer. It's not just software. It's not just hardware. It's not what you know exactly about the business. It's really a complete solution. So we fill a lot of the voids for a lot of our customers, and we help them leverage their businesses by taking off taking off their plate the most enveloping part of their business, which is the disputes. It's no less important, but it is very time-consuming. Having said that, what I found is that our good CROs, Joel, and I'm going to benchmark off of what I see them doing. Our good CROs are more enveloped and more in tune with this extra time, and they find good things to do with that time. For example, we'll go on a consultancy track with one of our customers, and we'll give them a task, we'll give them a goal, because it gets to that point. We tell them I want you to get 3-4 at a minimum 3 or 4 referrals for our next call next week, and at least one of them referring customers over to them. I've given them different numbers, anywhere from 1 to 3, just to get them in that direction. After we've given them, scripts and possibly hints and tricks to go ahead and how to acquire those referral type companies. And sometimes things happen and they don't get it done. It goes from week to week to week, Joe. And I got to tell you, that's what I think is one of the biggest problems. We want to be entrepreneurs, and we want to have a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of great things. But sometimes we really don't understand what it takes to get that done. And fundamentally, if you're not clear about that, that can cause you the biggest hindrance of all. Doesn't matter how much information we can give them. If that is not an attitude that they can adopt, and hitting their goals, moving forward relentlessly as an entrepreneur, that's the biggest struggle I found, Joe, believe it or not.
Well, and so what does that mean? What does that tell us? Okay, and it tells us a couple of things. One is that you're not focused, you're not disciplined, you're not writing down what you're going to do, and then you're not doing it. But why? See, that's the key. And what I find is that as an example, let me just kind of give an off-the-wall example, and I think it'll make sense. My dog, Buddy, he's a great dog. I've seen you a picture of him. I put him on Facebook last night. He was helping my little grandson clean up the peanuts that my little grandson has spilled all over the floor. So he does a great job. But what I found is that he has a particular path and a track that he runs in my backyard. And he very rarely falls outside of that track. Why is that? It's because that's what he does. That's how he feels. That's what he wants to do. It's his personality, you may even say, right? He does the same things over and over again. And I find that people that don't, that have this, I'm thinking for the right word, forgive me for this, it's like call reluctance, but action reluctance. When you have an action reluctance, not the right word, but I hope you're getting my drift here, and you just won't go out week after week and call on referral partners, then it's because you're not built that way, okay? And that's okay. We started the presentation with a slide that says all you have is all you have, and all you have is enough. But it's not enough if you are trying to force yourself, shoehorn yourself into a role that really isn't built for you, okay? And if you constantly want to come back to the numbers and look at the numbers, well, then you need to hire somebody to be that business development person, Joshua, because it's just not going to fit your role. If week after week you don't do it, then you've got to ask yourself why. But I'll assure you one thing. Unless you do it, until you spend an appropriate amount of time on that business development, your business won't get off the ground or won't go to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to, that's the whole thing. Understand that, if you don't do that, don't look for other things to do as well. I mean, I went in the Army in basic training. They taught me what, KISS technology is. KISS, keep it simple, stupid, right? And I thought that was an insult. As time went along, I mean, that became sort of a mantra because sometimes we complicate things and we want to do so many different things. We can only do what we can do, and more importantly, what we're built for to do. And understanding what those limits are very important. We've had, Joe, we've had many calls about HR and using the DISC analysis profile type analysis tools on the internalchange.com website. So if you guys are writing that down, it's www.internalchange.com website. Now that's the Center for Internal Change, and they're one of the companies that provide this type of testing. wasn't too long ago, Joel and I started running our DISC assessments on ourselves, then on our employees. Then we've established a whole HR process around it. And as of late, we've kind of gotten into a funk where we found that we can't, we're dropping the ball in certain business development aspects of our business, and we wanted to see what the team was like. So Joel took it upon himself to go a further level and deploy a team assessment within the DISC profile. It's another advanced assessment on the internalchange.com website. And we did so, and it was interesting to see how all of the people on the team really fit and didn't fit each other. But more importantly, defined what the limits were. And that's what I'm talking about. We need to understand what we do well and what we don't. And what we don't, we need to let other people do that better than us, people that are built for that. And if we're not going to waste any time doing that. We're going to waste time or spend time on doing what we do well. And I think we get very involved in those situations, and then we won't get things done because we're just not built for that. And this is what I think fundamentally is holding some of our CROs back. Has nothing to do with the tools. They're getting all the education we can give them. We put ourselves at their disposal. Sometimes it's that they need a little bit of help to jump that rope. And that's what we give them at Score, Joel, sometimes. We fill that void, and we kind of push them to move into that direction. The other thing is that there's a phenomenon around success, Joel, and sometimes people don't understand the taste of success, especially for you startups. You've got to start somewhere. Closing a deal, closing a referral partner, getting your first referral, celebrate that. And then take it to the next level, knock it up to 5, knock it up to 10. But at every point, celebrate it, and you got to have a plan. If there's no plan around it, you're gonna start running around like a chicken with its head cut off. So it's very difficult to start up, but it's very emotional as well. Getting a plan in place just directs you. Executing it, that's a whole other story, Joe.
Yeah, and we want to get to the 4 or 5 topics here, but I think this is a good direction until we get through these, and we'll cover them the best we can. But it is without a doubt the reluctance of people to act, regardless of where you are in life. I was with someone a couple of weeks ago, and they made the comment that we've gone from A to B, we're very successful, we're very profitable, but we plan on being at C by now. And he said to me, I'm not sure that I've got the energy to do, and I've got to do something different, he said, basically, to get to that next level. And we're talking about somebody doing several hundred deals a month wanting to do more, okay? So regardless of where you are in your business development, it's the same thing. In order to move forward, in order to be able to run a mile in less time than you can run it now, you've got to go get in better shape to do it. There's just no better way there's no other way to do it. In order to reach the next level, while Jay Abraham's statement is right, all you have is all you have, and all you have is enough. What he's referring to is that innate ability, that internal ability to grow yourself, acquire other resources, acquire a partner, acquire an employee. I'm doing a deal right now with this, I told you earlier, with a call center, and it's completely on a rev share basis where, I said, if you'll do this, I'll give you a high percentage of the revenue share there because, you're going to invest a lot of time to do it. And so there's an opportunity out there. I heard Tony Robbins one time in person, make that statement. There is no lack whatsoever except the lack of resources. And in almost every instance, that resource can be filled if you'll just reach out and think outside the box and acquire that resource. So again, if you're not going to the next level, do something, change something about it, because that is the way to overcome that. And one more point along these lines is something called the fact that when you have unresolved issues, things that you need to go do, things that you need to say, whether it's an apology, go cover something, go deal with something. I find, Joshua, that those unresolved issues weigh you down and keep you from acting and doing all that you know to do and all that you should do. And so, make a list of unresolved issues and begin to check them off, get them out of the way, and you'll find that it frees up your energy so dramatically that you'll automatically spring to the next level because it just frees up that energy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can tell you one thing. If they don't weigh you down, they definitely don't help you by staying unresolved. And personally, ladies and gentlemen, personally, when I've got 10,000 things on my plate, there's a lot of things, and they're not done, the thought of having them undone personally is overwhelming to me. And what do? I don't look at everything that's on my plate. I look at one task, and then I continue. And that's the way I handle that. Other people handle it differently. But definitely looking for other things to do is not the right choice, because that just doesn't help. I mean, you've got to get these unresolved issues. However that affects you, if it weighs you down or it doesn't let you move forward, however, it does affect your business and your possibly your thought process. So try to knock those out sequentially and based on priority.
Yeah, that's the key. And I showed Joshua something that John Goldman had shared with me, and it's just really simple. You take an Excel spreadsheet, and in column A you put, let's see, what do I have there? Actually, the priority, who's going to do it, so you delegate. Row number B is the date you intend to get it done. Row C is the action that you've taken. Row E, in my case, is the company that it affects. And the next row, I think we're at F now, is the detail about what it is, like new service level guarantees. We're working on it at Score. A new idea for a bonus plan, a new idea to go out and to attempt for a new marketing campaign, whatever the case might be. And then you can just keep that list very simply and check it off, add to it, sort it by the date, sort it by the person you've given responsibility to. And it's just an easy way to keep a list. But again, by priority, I think it's always best. And of course, one of the things I always say when somebody asks me, what do I do first? Well, you kill the closest alligator to you first. And then you kill the second closest alligator, and then you climb up in the tree and get a little vantage point about what you can do next. But you always kill the alligator. You always attack the thing that's just got to be done. And once you get past that, and you do it as quickly as possible, then you do the next thing that is somebody else is waiting on, okay? So what you want to always do is be in a position that if somebody's waiting on you to be able to make progress for you and your business, always supply that need to that other person, because then, guess what? You've multiplied your efforts and you've got two people working for you versus just one. Okay, so you always want to multiply versus add, and when you get another person working for you because you've answered their questions, then that's the powerful way to 10x and go to the next level there. Okay, 10xers always make sure that the other people that are working for them have their tools, their resources, the answers that they need. So somebody's asked me, a couple people have asked me for the columns, and what I'll do is I'll just send out this spreadsheet, and the columns, very simple to do. The first column is who's responsible. The next column is the date, the due date. The third, in my case, is the action that I've taken. Whether I sent an email, I've contacted them, I left a message, I got it done, I check it off. The next column is, for me, is the company that I'm working on, because I have multiple companies. The next is the actual detail of the item. Okay, so if it's like, content for my website. And guess what? Build a website is too vague. Work on the content for the website is too vague. Work on the content for page number 1 is what you want to get as the detail.
Joel, I guess you're looking at, are you looking at a spreadsheet of your time management? Because if you are, we're not seeing that on screen, by the way.
No, I didn't show. I can't. It's I could get that out when we go to another phase. I could get that out and show it to everyone. So yeah, but so Joshua, let's go to the next level here and if you're ready to move to the next item on the list.
Well, I want to talk about something here about leveraging your relationships. I get this question almost all the time. Where do I start? And sometimes on the new startups, we'll go and look through their documents, and we'll look through their intake process and review that. We'll help them or make sure that they've gotten the appropriate avenues or resources that cover the getting paid part of the business, and what the process is around that, and what the process is around customer service. And we've done, we go through different companies, have different things done before they get to it. So we touch all of those, and we want to make sure that they have, like I said before, a good business and a sustainable one. And then we get this question all the time: is where do I start? Well, that's a great thing. Leverage all of your relationships. That's not a good start. That's just something you should do all the time. Like I've said before, when you ask a customer, and you just sold credit repair to a consumer, and they're saying yes, that's the best time to ask them for a referral. You're leveraging that relationship. So guess what? If you build rapport with any of your affiliate relationships, referral sources, friends, family, neighbors, your church, your work, your wife's place of work, anywhere that you can probably talk to people about what you do for people, which is fundamentally help them in their livelihood, okay? Well, I think that's a good place to go ahead and leverage all of those relationships. Certainly take advantage of them. Of course, do it with that relationship's permission, right? It's always a good idea. It's always good to have that. But you always want to leverage it as much as you can, okay?
Yeah, very good point. And that is, it's all about the leverage point, and that's what I was kind of touching on earlier is, whatever it is you're doing, put yourself in a position to do it at the highest level possible. You don't go out there. Nobody goes out there and to run and trains to run a marathon and doesn't give it their best. And if they do, boy, that's a lot of effort, right? But I find so often is that we don't give our relationships the right amount of energy. We don't give our businesses the right amount of energy. We don't give the day the right amount of energy because we didn't give the hour enough energy and we didn't give the minutes enough energy, okay? And if you'll really begin to focus down to what am I going to do precisely, when am I going to do it, and then be in the frame of mind to do it at 100%, that's all you can do, 100%, then you'll find that the results are so much greater. But, sometimes we got to, in order to get there, you got to kind of clear the deck. But I find, Joshua, that everybody's spending too much time clearing the deck and not enough time doing. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm kind of harping on here today. But, in order to, if this would help you, this is my spreadsheet. So if I'm going to delegate something to Joshua, for example, and the due date is 2/1/2013, okay, the action taken is, I've delegated it. The company is Score. The action is content for website, as an example. And then these are actually the details. So, and let's just imagine now that I get, I end up with a bunch of these, okay? And as the list goes, and they've all got different dates. And then you notice that some of the dates are passed by, of course. So when you sort it, you sort the list. It's a very simple process. You sort the list with a custom sort. My data has headers, and you sort it by the due date, for example. So that item, pops to the top here, or you could sort it by the company. You could sort it by who you delegated it to. And so for me, this is just a real simple way to keep a list. And then what I do is I print it out every day, and I actually keep it in front of me on my desk. And again, again, this is the way to prioritize as well as to act as well. So, just a few thoughts here. So I hope that helps.
Yeah.
But
that's project management at a high level, and it's basically understanding what your tasks are, understanding what your resources are, and understanding what sub-delegation and what your role is in those tasks. Whether it's a person that's supporting the task, managing the task, or actually executing the task. And then what are the dates to deliver it, and what are the dates that you need to start reviewing it. I mean, you can start drilling down on that and then get really detailed on it. But keeping it as simple as you can is probably the best thing for you if you're having trouble managing multiple tasks. Because as entrepreneurs, we start doing many, many, many things at one time. And that can become dangerous. That can become a burden on your business development.
Well, no doubt, because there's only so much time, and time really turns into energy. And Joshua, that's really what we're trying to manage is energy. And I've read some books about this, and the fact is everybody talks about time, managing time. Well, really what you're managing is resources and energy, okay? And how much energy you've got to bring to bear on something is the real key. If you go back to the Nixon and the Kennedy debates, if you remember, Kennedy took off and rested for 2 or 3 days, and Nixon didn't. So Kennedy comes in, he looks tan, he looks prepared, he looks calm, he's in control. And Nixon, basically, looked like he'd been out running and sweating, and he was just not ready. He may have had the details, but he didn't have the presence. And I find that we all deal with that. I deal with that, and when you go in to make that presentation, when you get ready, when you've got an appointment scheduled, don't fight with your wife on the way or your husband on the way to the thing. Make sure you leave in plenty of time not to be late. Make sure that you know where you're going. Back when I traveled all over the country, and people ask me, where all have you been? What all have you seen? I said, well, I've been everywhere. I just didn't see anything. Because I'd fly into a city, go to a meeting, go to a hotel, go back to the airport, and leave. But, that's just kind of the way it was. But in many instances, I'd get in a car and I'd drive somewhere. And in the earlier days, this is back in, really early days of early 2000, we didn't have GPS and all those things. And I wanted to go and make sure that I knew where I was going the next day, the next morning, because I didn't want to get frustrated in the traffic. I didn't want to get lost. And because when I arrived, Joshua, I was on, okay? It's like an actor being hired to do a scene. This one take Jake, they want you to get up there and get it done and have the energy level to do it. So again, I want to get to this ways to meet new referral sources, but this is kind of preparing to be ready to meet the referral source. So when you get there, you're mentally prepared, you're physically prepared, you look good, you're not harried or and you're ready to execute. You've got your presentation. I find, Joshua, that it's good to have a PowerPoint presentation on a computer, but I also find that it's good to have that presentation printed out in color if possible, and to leave that behind and give that to the people in the meeting so that they can actually go through the presentation with you, make notes, and leave that presentation with something in their hands. Just one of the techniques that I like to use. So again, I want to get to ways to meet the referral sources, but we got to be prepared when we get there so we can execute. Somebody called me the other day and said they had an appointment scheduled and the person didn't show up. Well, welcome to the flipping club, right? It happens, and I know it's discouraging, but now here's one thing for sure: that guy really owes you something now, right? So just stick with it, and you'll get the appointment back together.
Yes.
You got to be ready. You got to be prepared, and you got to have the proper energy in order to hit that event and to do it right. Well, Joshua, we've talked a dozen times, I'll bet, or more about ways to meet referral sources. You're the card guy. Let's talk a moment about that. If somebody wanted to approach car dealers, and we've got an entire training to go back and look at. It's in our members only section, and you're welcome to go and review that. I would suggest that you do. But Joshua, let's deal with that for a few minutes, and I want to get over to the agents, the real estate agents, and the builders, and the mortgage folks as well. But let's talk about car dealers. If someone wanted to consider that as a business model, what would they do?
The first thing is that they, it's like anything else. You do research in your area. I mean, you want to, it's like I say this from CRO, I saw it to a CRO today. I mean, you do not want to find yourself going after 1 and 2 closes. If you find yourself closing all of the customers in your business and you're closing 1 at a time, that's good for your business, but because you're getting new business, but you really want to maximize your potential. So you do some research and go out and address groups of people at a time. But with the car dealers, you want to understand what a good referral source, a potential referral source is, and what one that is not a potential good one. And definitely volume plays into picture. The first thing is that when you're driving around, look at the lots. When you go by on a car dealership, understanding how many units they sell is not very difficult. Just look at their lots. Count their cars out in the lot. How many cars are they selling? How many of them are in their lot? If they've got roughly 60, if they've got 50 units on there, that's 1.5 times their inventory or their sales potential. So that means that they 50 is not a whole lot. Now, if they've got 350 cars, well, that's a bigger lot. Bigger lot means better traffic. Better traffic means a lot of denials. And if it's and then the type of dealership. If it's a used car dealership, well, used car dealerships in the States normally deal with challenged credit, some of them, and what they do is they try to roll over through their subprime lenders. Subprime lenders tend to be a lot less strict, more lenient on their customer base, but of course they stick it to them with high interest rates. Okay, but those are whether they buy or don't buy on a subprime lot, and normally you'll notice if it's subprime, because if you see units flying out the window, these lots of advertising for this dealer group or dealership, they're probably moving a lot of used vehicles. Why? Because they've built a process around subprime, and everybody that comes onto a used car dealer is a candidate for credit repair. Every single customer. It's not 3 out of 10, 7 out of 10, every single one. In a new car dealership, depending on what type of dealership, that'll run from anywhere from 5 to 7 customers will probably be denied credit, and that'll depend on the type of dealership. I mean, if it's a Mercedes-Benz dealership, normally you don't get people just walking off the street to see if they qualify for a 500 SL. It'll be somebody that thinks they're prepared to handle that load. And that's something you want to, that type of dealership will probably have less denials of credit. And they'll have less ups as well. Ups means the people that come up to the dealership and actually ask about units or are in the business or in the market to buy a unit or a vehicle. So you really want to pay attention to that. That's the first giveaway. And then after you've done your research, you want to know you want to get to know people at the dealership to really find out who runs the dealership. Is it the general manager? Is it the general sales manager? Is it the dealer principal? The dealer principal is the owner of the lot. It's very important that you answer that question, because if you engage anybody below that person and inside that type of a business, they'll probably just blackball you for until forever. It's a strange lifestyle being in the car business, and selling cars when you're in the business is basically a way of life. Normally, car dealerships open 7 days a week. They do most of their business from Thursday through Sunday. So those are the high volume days as well. So don't go looking for a dealer principal on Saturday. First of all, a dealer principal is probably not even there, probably playing golf somewhere on Saturday. He's a good dealer principal. He's on the shop floor or on the sales floor. Either way, it's still not a good place to go set up a meeting with that type of person. So you want to leverage the best time, which would be Monday through Wednesday, to get a meeting with this type of individual. Now, the sell to them should always be an opportunity to decrease their investment in advertising. Roughly $400 to $600, according to NADA standards, is what a dealer will invest in advertising. $400 to $600 per unit, ladies and gentlemen. So if the dealer has 300 units, he's probably doing about 100 to 125 sales per month. So that means he's investing about 40, 60 grand a month in advertising. You heard it right, 40 to 60 grand. And that's a lot of money. So when you can tell them that for that same 40 or 60 grand, if they're going to, they have the possibility of satisfying all of their customers with a new start or a new type of type program to help them get better credit and then maybe turn over a car in the future because of that. Well, if once they sell that type of loyalty, that's a loyalty building program for them, and that could mean a secondary sale for them. Not only that, that could also help you to nurture customers that didn't qualify for some reason, and a little bit further down, 2, 3, 4 months down the road, 5, 6 months down the road, if those customers are ready to get into a used unit or a new unit or a better unit, they're going to come back to the people that help them. So nurturing that customer into the position to buy is definitely something that is attractive to them. They just need to understand what the touch points are. By no means, be very careful. If you're a licensed credit repair company, and don't put at risk these types of businesses. These businesses that do 100 units or more, they can probably gross maybe anywhere between $5, $10, $15 million a year. They're not going to put at risk that for credit repair. Okay, so do not put them at risk. So be very careful when engaging and touching their customers. Now, this is the kicker. You can't do business, and if you do business that way, it's going to be much less successful. You can't do business with them unless you have the resources to put a person on the lot. That's the best way to do it. That means there's got to be somebody there from Thursday through Sunday converting customers through the F&I process. Now, we've got videos that go through this. Plus, our customers that have asked about this have actually seen some of the things that I've done for some of our clients, and they're using them. So if you want to take a look at that, just email me at joshua@scoreinc.com or joshua.carmona@scoreinc.com, and I'll be happy to set up some time so that we can talk and share this information with you.
Great. And, one of the things that really just jumps out at me here is the obvious, and you touched on it, is that if you want to do business with a car dealer, find one to do business with, go in there and make the model work yourself or with the right person, hire the right person. You got to have the right person, you got to have the right energy to be in that type of environment, okay, or it won't work. And be there, Thursday through Sunday or Thursday through Saturday, whatever their dates are that are open, but obviously Thursday, Friday, Saturday is the big day, and that is, what that would be your day, what you would schedule for that day. Why? Because really, Joshua, at the end of the day, all you want is the money, okay? And so I hear people say, well, but if I go there Thursday, Friday, Saturday and spend the whole day, I won't be able to do business somewhere else. Okay, but if you're getting the opportunity to talk to 10, 15, 20 people, isn't that what you want? That's really all you want, is the opportunity to speak to people that are in an environment that the ticket item is significant enough that they actually may want to engage credit repair, whether they buy or don't buy from the dealer.
Not only that, Joel, is that they come with tips in hand and money in hand. That means, ladies and gentlemen, they have proof of ID, proof of social, proof of residence, because that's what you take to a dealership. Plus, they've got money for tags, and most of the time, anywhere from $250 to $2,000 to $3,000 in the used car business, maybe $3,000 to $4,000 in the new car business, in hand, ready to spend. Okay, so these customers are primed and ready, most of them, to buy.
Yeah. And so, and again, we've got a whole training on this that's free of charge, by the way. Go check it out if you're a SCORE member. And the idea here is to go, you don't need 50 relationships, you need one. And when you make that one work, guess what will happen? That one dealer, they all talk to each other, will talk, and by the time you know it, you can leverage that relationship into another dealership, bring somebody on, train them side by side with you, build your process, tell them what to say, build the entire process out, all your non-negotiables. We talk about non-negotiables in all of our webinars, and build that system out, make it work, duplicate yourself, and before you know it, you could be in 4 or 5 dealerships all over town. Now, is it without problems? No, I imagine, Joshua, it's very difficult to accomplish this. But as long as you don't cause them any trouble and you help them and their customers come back to buy and are just more satisfied with the fact that, you know, the dealer helped them out, then this could be a very profitable way to build your business. And I don't see a lot of people doing it. I guess there might be. We've had a couple of people make comments on the call that, you know, they get a lot of business from car dealers. And one of the ways they do it is to offer some free credit repair as well. But, you know, Joshua, again, you know, building a relationship is the key here, or it won't work. This won't work without a relationship and with mutually beneficial results.
I get that, yes.
Well, another referral source that we talk about quite often is the real estate agent. And I know that, you know, everybody's probably tired of hearing this, but I keep getting more and more testimonials, Joshua, of people that have gone out there and actually put this into play, where they go to the open house, or they determine who's having open house, and you can usually do that by looking at the Sunday paper, determine who's having open house, find out a little bit about that agent before you go, you know what company they work for, how long they've been there. And all you got to do is look at their website. They've all got all their self-promotional information there, and go and meet 2 or 3 agents a week at an open house. Go in there, introduce yourself, and tell them that you're in the credit repair business. You're in the business of helping consumers be able to get ready to buy a house. You've helped many consumers, and as a matter of fact, you've got a group of consumers that are going through your pipeline now that you're looking for an agent to be able to work with and refer your customers to. So I'm here to meet you and to talk about that. And I wouldn't go so far as to say interview. I've said that a number of times. You may want to test that in your market, test that with the type of person that you're talking to. But Joshua, it just works because, you know, the goal here is to actually meet, shake somebody's hand, sit across the table from them, have a bottle of water, you know, a cup of coffee, and actually get to know people, because unless, you know, people do business with the people that they know, okay, and they usually get, and the goal, another goal here is to get to know the people that you do business with, because it just absolutely, there's no way to overcome the objection that you're going to get if you pick up the phone and try to call into a real estate company, go by there and see them. Cold calling, man, that's old school. You don't want to do anything like that. You want to go in there and build a relationship and build a mutually respective relationship. Also, and then the next step here is by Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, your mission is to have met with that agent's broker or sales manager and their favorite loan originator, okay? Because one of the things you're going to ask that agent is who's your favorite loan originator, and you're going to call that favorite loan originator Monday afternoon, not Monday morning, Monday afternoon, Tuesday morning at the latest, and you're going to ask that, you're going to tell that loan originator, I was meeting with Sally this weekend, and she tells me you're her favorite loan originator, and I want to get to know you. I think we may have a mutually beneficial way to do business together. You don't go in there and the first thing you do is ask that guy for business. Hey, by the way, you give me all your turndowns, okay? Don't do that. go in there and tell the same story. I've got a book of consumers that are going through the process, and they will be exiting, and many of them are going through the credit repair process to be able to buy a home. And I want to meet with loan originators. I am meeting with loan originators. I am interviewing loan originators to determine who would be, if you're a good fit for my team. And again, it's just going back to the same thing about meeting the dealer principal. This is a lot easier than trying to go meet a dealer principal and get a business relationship set up inside of a dealership. Believe me, okay? And it's a target-rich environment. The real estate agents are sitting out there in those open houses. Sometimes they have a lot of people. Sometimes they just have a few, but they always have 15 to 20 minutes between visits in many instances to be able to talk with you. And so, Joshua, it's a way that if you were starting from scratch or trying to start from where you are and build your business, you could meet 3 or 4, 2 or 3 or 4, whatever, how much energy you wanted to give it, new potential referral sources a week just by doing this.
Yeah, and we all need referral sources. I mean, Joe, and quite frankly, Joe, you know, I preach, you know, what I know, but most of our customers, I'd say over 90% of them build their businesses on mortgage affiliate relationship or mortgage referral sources.
Right.
You've got to create a process around recruiting them, and definitely, Joe, that's great. That's a great way to engage them. I mean, because there's nothing worse than going up to somebody and just asking for their business. What makes you any different than anyone else?
Well, you're just as bad as the last guy that came in, and quite frankly, you're probably just as bad as the last guy that came in, gave him your card, and then you never returned their phone calls. Okay, I was in a meeting last week with one of our customers, helping them to build some business, and the guy had already told us once, this particular referral source, the big real estate company had already told us once that they were giving business to the largest credit repair company in the city. This is a couple of weeks ago. And that they had just started and that they were unhappy with the relationship because effectively the consumer, they didn't get any feedback from the credit repair company. Now, this is very interesting. I mean, a big credit repair company that has affiliate relationships, this is what they do. But in this case, that big, well-positioned credit repair company had dropped the ball. And they had started a relationship, but guess what? They didn't follow up. They didn't put in practice. Whatever happened, it happens, right? Small company, big company, it happens. But guess what? This new credit repair company of ours was able to go in and get that business primarily because of a leveraged relationship. It was a referral through another person that had a relationship with this company. And when we got there, they said, well, we're already doing this with somebody else. But guess what? The first thing the guy says, but they're not communicating with us. So let's talk about what are the needs of your referral sources and how much communication do they really need? And Joshua, let me talk about the real estate business for a minute because that's what I know real well. Most real estate agents sell about 12 houses a year. They're involved with about 12 houses a year, okay? That may be high or low. That just used to be the average. And so that means that they typically have 1 or 2 deals at a time that they're babysitting, okay? And guess what you do when you're babysitting? You babysit. And you worry about it. You carry the file around with you everywhere you go, you know, and you're taking on that money in order to be able to do that, to pay your bills next month. Now that's the average real estate agent. And then of course you've got those that really produce. But you know, so the average real estate agent really needs a lot of communication. And I find that if you'll communicate with them proactively, they'll appreciate it more, and it takes less time. One of the things we heard Doug Parker say last week on the call, which I think was very kind of Doug to spend that much time with us on the phone, and he gave us great information. I've not uploaded that recording to the website. I just remembered that today. I need to get that done, and I will by the first of the week. But it's he said, and Joshua agreed with this, and they had quite a bit of conversation about it.
But, don't hide behind email and think email is a substitution for real communication. And I'm telling you, people are tired of emails, okay? They're bombarded by emails. They're inundated by emails, hundreds a day, with only about 10% of them being things that they need to respond to, and so they're not looking at their email as much as you want them to and you need them to. However, you need to send them an email, okay? And you need to call them, leave them a voicemail. It's even better, and if they want to, they'll call you back. Okay, so, and another thing, don't ever forget, and I recommend that you create something that you can actually mail to people as well with a real nice stationery, and so when you meet somebody, do that extra effort and actually communicate via U.S. Postal Service as well, and they'll be amazed at that. Write them a handwritten letter, note is even better. But Joshua, I think that on a credit repair client, that you need to proactively communicate, obviously, no less than every 30 days, because you're really not going to know any updates for 30 days. So the first thing you want to do is set the proper expectations so that the consumer, the real estate agent, the loan originator, isn't expecting communication once a week, because guess what? It would be superfluous and a waste of everybody's time. But when that clock ticks and the dispute is done, the results are achieved, then, of course, and you check the credit monitoring, of course, because you don't want to wait on results, then immediately reach out to that loan originator and that real estate agent in that team process and communicate immediately with them. And then what I would do is I would call every real estate agent and loan originator referral source that you've got every Friday, and tell them and remind them, hey, I'll be available for you. And I'm real big about not being available via cell phone all the time, but your salespeople must be. And if they have someone that they're out showing a house to and that person doesn't qualify or think they might not, then it's a great opportunity for them to call you and for you to secure that lead right there, okay? The next thing I would do is I'd call them every Monday afternoon and I'd say, hey, I wanted to see if you had anything that came in over the weekend that I can help you with. Be proactive, be a part of the team, and you'll see that team member will begin to trust you with those transactions, and you'll begin to get more referrals because you're a part of the team. And I don't know the exact statistics these days about how many people are getting turned down for mortgages because of credit, but I'll bet it's over 50%. So it's a gigantic universe of consumers out there that need your assistance. And if you began to sell for if you add a new referral source a week that sent you one deal a week, in a matter of months, I mean, you got 15, 20, 30 new consumers a month that you don't have right now, whether it's you're adding on to the other 30 you've got, adding on to the other 300 you've got, or adding to your first one, it's still the same process.
Yeah, that's great advice, Joe. That's really good advice. That's if you're out there and wondering how to engage referral sources in the mortgage business, Joe just gave you a bunch of great information. I hope you were taking notes. If not, replay this to all you SCORE members on our website, because that's a lot of good information. Lots of good information. Joe, that idea of helping and putting yourself at their disposal when they, on a Monday, to see if they want somebody to look at something for them, see if they need any help with a specific case. I mean, we sometimes in credit repair we kind of mix, disputing with credit repair. And credit repair is, constitutes a lot of different things. Somebody on one of our calls, I think it was a friend of Joe's from the mortgage business, Greg Frost, said that there's a difference between credit repair and credit restoration or rehabilitation, I believe the word was. The reality is that sometimes mortgage brokers have their own internal process on how to bump scores. I mean, they're pretty savvy, some of them, but you might be able to help them see something that they're not. So definitely, if you can find something that just needs, additional lowering of utilization rate, utilization ratios, things of this sort, or some simple things that they can get removed, like in dispute statuses, that maybe with a phone call can be removed by the consumer to the credit reporting agency without engaging directly into the credit repair process. You might say, well, that's giving away our service for free. But I'll tell you what, it's definitely a rapport builder, and you're going to get their attention after that, especially if you are able to save a deal. So that's a good thing, Joe. That's a great idea.
Yeah, doing what you want to become is the go-to credit guy, okay, and go-to credit gal, because that's what they need on their team.
And as Joshua said, in many instances, you're going to give away your information for free. But guess what? You're buying brain cells. You're marking your territory. You're top mind awareness there, and so that you will be the guy that when that simple utilization ratio suggestion, that simple call to the bureau, that simple issue of doing a rapid rescore doesn't work. Then they're going to pick up the phone and say, "Hey, I got a case for you." And let's take that one step further. We're at the hour right now, but I want to take that one step further on this call. If you've got to build a relationship with that real estate agent where they go beyond telling their customer that didn't qualify, "Yeah, call so-and-so," you want to have that relationship so well defined that they actually do the best case scenario is a three-way call and do a live transfer handoff to you, or a live introduction to you is like number one. I'm consulting for a particular company that is getting live transfers from industry, and they're also getting data post over of consumers that were not available to speak to the credit repair salesperson at that time. And Joshua, is 10 times more likely, the statistics are that the consumer closes 10 times more likely when they do a live transfer and talk to the person on the phone. Now, I think there's a number of reasons for that, but not to digress too far away from my point. Get the real estate agent, get the loan originator to think so much of you that they actually take that extra time and take that person by the hand and say, "Let me introduce this person to you. It's that important. This person has helped a number of other customers. I believe that they could help you. At least they could give you some good advice to know what to do." And if you can obtain that level of position with your referral partners, car dealer, mortgage, builder, financial institution, doesn't matter, whatever it is, then you're in, Joshua. And one of our other presentations always make the point and say your goal is to be known as the credit repair person in your city, in your area, by as many people as can know you as that person. That's the goal. And of course that you're not a flake at it either. It actually works. You actually help people, and you help most people the most by telling them you can't help them. So another key element there, because if you operate on the wrong foot or it doesn't work and everybody feels bad about it, then you've hurt your reputation versus helping it. So anyway, Joshua, a few nuggets here today again, I'm in the real mode of Business Plan 2013, not only for Score but for our customers as well. And if you're not a customer of Score, we want you to consider being a customer. Go to our website and click on the Getting Started, or any of the links will help you get there. We've got a members-only section. If you're not a member, fill out that form there. We'll send you a temporary password so you can look at some of the resources we've got. Joshua, we've got the FDCPA department. Every week we have cases where the consumer signs up, is represented by a lawyer at no charge whatsoever, ever by the lawyer, top national law firm, and we have cases coming out the end of the funnel every week where the consumer got the trade line removed, the debt absolved sometimes, and in most cases $200 to $500 and $600 check written to them by the third-party debt collector. And again, it costs nothing for your consumer. If you're a member of Score, you automatically get a $150 a lead fee. That's what we're paying by the lead, and we got a contract for all that. If anybody's interested and concerned about the legal issues, we've had a number of lawyers look at it. We feel very good that we're not paying referral fees, so no issue there. And if you're not a Score member, you start off at $100 per customer commission, and it goes up to as much as $150. So it's not only a great way for you to make extra money, but to help your customer where the customer pays nothing. Joshua, did I say no? I feel like it's our commercial. Did I say nothing? I mean nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. I mean, you can't even pay us. You can't even buy us a Coke or nothing. Nothing. So anyway, think about that. We also are recommending the Identity IQ credit monitoring, and you access the best deal. Really the only deal they've got, because it's $29.95 a month for 3-month pull, unless you use our link. And our link is myiqreport.com. myiqreport.com. I'll type that on the screen so that everybody can see it. But it's and Joshua, talk about that just a little bit and the benefits of it.
Yeah. By the way, Joe, we're still seeing the webinar topic screen.
Yeah, no, I got to put it up there.
Okay, so yeah,
I don't have the slide for that. I'll put it up there in just a second.
Bring up the actual web page, Joe. Do me that favor.
Okay, sure, I can do that.
Yeah, yeah. So my IQ report it's my IQ report singular, not plural. When you hit that website, you'll see that it says $16.95 in the middle. It's a 30-day pull. It pulls all 3 credit reporting agencies. The thing that we love about this credit monitoring site is that it is definitely good information. Creditor information is very good, especially with original creditors. Collection agency data is populated with regards to the names. I don't know if you guys have seen some of those free score and Scoreinc and credit check total reports, ladies and gentlemen, but they are. I mean, the data is just missing. Some of them is account after account with no name. It's incredible. And it's not that these accounts don't have names. It's just that they don't. There's something wrong. Either they're not buying the data, or the data is not being provisioned to them, or they can't display the data. Either way, any which way, it's a problem for you and your consumer. We definitely like Identity IQ. They've got a lot more data than all the others, as well as a great price for all 3 credit reporting agencies. So it's a very, very good system, very good credit monitoring to use. And if you're a Score customer, by the way, and you're using Identity IQ through the myiqreport.com link, we pull the credit report from you from the second round on. So you guys, we save you a little bit of time there as well. So it helps your process flow a lot simpler. And if we can't get in, we'll let you know as well. So it's just a good thing, a good service to you. They have a nice key as well. If not, you can always email me at joshua@scoreinc.com or joshua.carmona@scoreinc.com, and we can set up a call, and I can go ahead and show you what the Identity IQ key is like, so you can learn how to read the report. It's very simple. But we can set up some time and discuss it. It's a very good product, Joe.
Good, good. So, and another thing that you may have mentioned this, but all the negative items are all in one area.
Oh yeah, I did, but it's great that you repeated it. And did we mention that all the derogatory items are all in one area, Joe?
I don't know. Did we? Did we say it was $16.95? I'm not sure, but yeah. So anyway. You just caught me with my ADD showing, so. Well, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining our webinar. We always try to, hold off the any selling until after we're, completed with our educational portion. And we want to thank you for being on the webinar. And if we can help you in any way at Score by providing you with a dispute solution, helping you to grow your business, providing you with a really great software to be able to manage your business, then we're here to do that. Just go to our website. We've got our phone number there, or fill out the forms, and we'll get right back to you. But call us. We're here to answer your calls, and we're really wanting to help you grow your business, because the way we position our business is that unless you do business, unless you have business to do, unless you grow your business, we don't get paid. We don't charge thousands of dollars for software and for Phantom or even perceived or even provided information. Most of our information is at no charge, and our software is very inexpensive, and our dispute solution is very, very productive. So, you know, we're in it with you. Our interests are aligned with our customers. Again, if our goal is for you to go from 1 deal a month to 10, from 10 to 20, from 20 to 40, you know, if you can do 1 deal, ladies and gentlemen, you can do 10. If you can do 10, you can do 50. And the key is finding somebody to help you do it. And Joshua, we're pretty good at helping people do that.
We're aggressive. Sometimes some of you on the call know it, that I kind of push you. I ask you for referrals, and I'll call you next week and ask you for how many customers you did, and I'll call you on it because I'm looking at your portal. And I'm doing that unashamedly because I want to help us all grow our businesses together. And I think that's a really great deal. That's a great offer, Joe.
Oh, yeah, can't beat it. Can't beat it at all. Well, Joshua, I don't think you were on here when I showed my new, I don't know if it's my new business picture yet, but I don't go that far. But
you mean the pants?
Yeah, the pants.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so anyway, back at the gym tomorrow, you know.
Yeah.
Well, cool. It's been another great meeting. You guys, wish you a strong end of the week. I recommend one thing that you do without fail. Spend a lot of time with your family, have a good time, relax, and before Monday morning, have a list of everything you're going to do at least for Monday. And then and do that every day, okay? And by the next week, have a list of everything you're going to do for Monday and Tuesday, and build that out to where you're actually planning out weeks and months in advance. Because, again, going back to this realtor presentation, the key is to be in a realtor meeting every Tuesday. There are most of them all over the country. I think they just all have their meetings on Tuesday morning. So, you know, it takes weeks and months and sometimes longer to get an appointment to actually make a presentation at a real estate office. So, again, go through this weekend, have a great time, spend a lot of time with your family. When you're there with them, be there with them. But when Monday morning comes, know exactly what you're going to do, your action items, the top list, time block it, and you'll see how much more you get done. So, Joshua, that's my parting suggestion.
Good suggestions.
Okay, guys, have a great day.